Morning everyone. So as promised, I have come down this morning to show you the goats' progress. Goats, Marbella. So goats in action. Now I'm pretty sure they would have made more progress, but they managed to get themselves tangled around each other and that tree this morning. So they only got that little area cleaned up, which last night when I brought them down there looked bushier than that section. If you can see that, it was up to my hip anyway. So they've cleaned up that little area in between those two trees last night, overnight. So yes, they're good little weed cleaners. They do a fantastic job. The chickens will be really happy going over that area now, but the goats have still got a lot of work to do because they got themselves tangled. Didn't you, Marbella? So yes, lots of work for the goats to do still. But Marbella seems to really like these peas that I've put down for the chickens. So I'm hoping that they're not bad for the goats because she's already gobbled up heaps of them. There she goes. She goes straight for the beans. Or the peas. I'm not quite sure what they are. I think they're a bean. They're supposed to be a bit of a green manure crop that I put down for the chooks. But Marbella's happily gobbling up all the beans. So's Mary. So she's enjoying it as well. So yes, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do when I try and take the goats along the back fence now. I mean, there's a lot of weeds over there that they'll happily eat. But there's also 2 dogs on the other side of the fence. And I know my girls don't really like those 2 dogs very much. But we'll see what happens. I'll see how that progresses. I've got to keep them away from the bananas because they'll eat the banana overnight. Which would be really bad considering it's just fruiting now. I'm so pleased. But yes, so food forest is still progressing. A lot slower than I'd like, but it is progressing. Just a matter of time and energy. I'm trying to get everything done. So the chookies are doing a good job. They've been nicely scratching up all of the wood chips and manuring it. I could actually plant a garden in this section, which I might actually do. I might do that because that is the plan. The plan is to have a garden in there. Sorry, losing my shoe. The plan is to have this as my kitchen garden area out here. So just keep moving the chickens backwards and forwards on it. I moved them onto this spot last night. As you can see, they're making a lovely difference in there. It looked a lot like that yesterday. So chookies are having lots of fun. Happy chickens, happy chickens. Happy cat. Having fun stalking the chickens and the goats. He doesn't do much other than that. Oh, look at that. I love it when they climb the tree. It's even funnier when they just hop up on the hind legs in midair. Oh, Mary's checking out the shelter. Goats really don't like it when it rains. So I've popped the little IBC skins down here as shelters for them. They work quite well. And they're not strong enough to chain the goat to and just let the goat move it around. It wouldn't stop the goat at all. It would stop them from jumping a fence, but it wouldn't stop them from going wherever they wanted to and eating my banana, which would be very bad. Get a bit closer so you can see the progress of the bananas. Still a long time before they're ready to harvest. Long time. Bananas take a long time to grow. I'd have to look back in the playlist to see how old these guys are. Yeah, see, if she gets any closer, she's just going to eat the whole lot. She's chomping up the sweet potato at the moment. She's definitely... Oh, it's not a problem for her to eat the greens of the sweet potato. I had the chickens in there a little while ago and they cleaned up a bit of mess. Matthew put the compost in the wrong spot. Did you get that? So yes, I can't let them go any closer because otherwise they would eat the banana down overnight. There would be no banana left, which would be very, very bad. Yeah, so the goats are having a lovely time over here, eating up all of these lovely weeds. And it's much better than getting a whippersnipper out. Turn those lovely weeds into lovely milk. Good goats, good goats. And the chickens have been doing a reasonably good job. I mean, and the plan with them is that they turn it into eggs. Well, the girls aren't laying at the moment. But yeah, trying a few things to bring them back into lay. But it is getting very close to the shortest day of the year. So it's a normal time of the year for them to go off the lay. But they're not real fond of the really tall, long grassy weeds, which is what this is. Like you can see here, it's nearly taller than the chicken coop. So there's a lot of weeds in here. And I had somebody helping me in the yard, and instead of breaking these boxes down and moving pot plants, the plastic pots, and sticking them in the bin or putting them somewhere where they could be reused, they just buried them under the wood chips. I'm not sure what I'm going to find under these wood chips now. I'm a bit wary of that. I would have thought that was common knowledge to move plastic out from underneath wood chips before you put it down, and flatten boxes before you bury them. But apparently not. But that's okay. It's all good. We work with what we've got. And the person did help spreading out a lot of wood chips. But you can see how high those weeds are now. Marbella is just having a lovely time chomping up all of those lovely weeds. And she'll bring those all nice and down so that they're the same height as these over here. And then I can move the chickens in and the chickens will scratch it up, which will nicely fertilise all of these trees. Which, after I put the chickens through this time, my plan is to actually plant under here, have the different layers like you have in a food forest. So that would be considered, it's not quite the canopy layer because the canopy layer is a bit higher, but these are a good pioneer trees, and they're the trees that were here when we moved in. So down this bottom I'll put in some bushes, some bush height trees, shrubs, and some vines, so get some passion fruit or kiwis growing up the trees, as well as ground cover and root crops. So probably sweet potato is one of my favourites, and probably some herbs. So turn this into a nice garden area here. So yes, that is the plan, but I'll have to let the goats do their job first and then send the chickens through. And the other thing too is, while the goats are here, they're putting manure down as well, which is even better, which is really, really good. So they're dropping their manure, and then I'll probably pop some cow manure down here as well, since we've got the cows out the front, and Matthew's been helping me by earning some cash and picking the cow manure up for me. And once I've put some cow manure down and some more wood chips in the area, then I'll bring the chickens onto this patch, and I'll leave them here for long enough to actually blend all of that through and then plant in it. And it should be a nice, really fertile spot under here. So yes, it's quite exciting really. We're starting to make some progress. Slow progress. I've brought the goats through this area quite a few times, but it's a lot easier now. We've finally gotten rid of all of the Besser bricks that were around the place and all the obstacles, the random trees, random non-productive trees that were along the back fence that were just causing problems have all come down. The lemon tree, which hasn't produced a single lemon since we've been here, which is 3 years now, looks to be doing quite well, although I've now got a blood orange. The gentleman that helped me with the wood chips also put a whole heap of branches under here, so there's a lot of areas that are very unstable, and if you step on them the ground just disappears from underneath you. That is also a big problem. So yes, but yeah, so the lemon trees here, it's looking reasonably okay, although it's got some disease happening here, so I'm going to need to trim it back a bit. But I'm wanting to graft on some of the blood orange that I got, just to try out grafting really. And I need to prune back some of these branches and open this up a lot, because citrus in general, like a lot of air in their leaves. Next door's guava's doing lovely. It hangs over the side of the tree there, the fence. The bamboo's doing well. I'm going to need to start trimming it back a bit really. My guava, it's a bit sad really. The top part of it seems to have died off. I think it may have just not gotten enough water during summer, so that's died off. But it's got all of these new shoots down here. So I'm half thinking I might just chop back the dead stuff and pick the branches that I want to keep and trim off the rest. See if I can grow them, strike some cuttings. We like guavas. Guavas are nice. But yeah, so we're making some progress. Very, very slow progress. But things don't happen overnight with gardening. Gardening in permaculture is a long-term process. There are ways you can speed it up a bit. But that's usually if you've got a lot of manpower, which I don't currently have. Matthew is starting to get to the point where he's old enough to help me out a lot, so that's really good. But yeah, so the food forest area is coming along very slowly, and a lot of the slowdown is deciding where to plant things. Like I haven't finished that banana circle off. I really need to decide which direction I'm taking it. But that area over there gets very damp. It holds on to a lot of water. And I think we've got a fair bit of groundwater in this area as well. There's Brazilian cherries in here, but I don't really like Brazilian cherries, and this was a hedge. It was just a horrible hedge. It wasn't somewhere that I wanted it, so I considered it a weed. So I'm trying to kill it. Got some cassava? Taro. No, it is cassava. I've got some cassava growing here. I had some last year growing in this spot as well, but some wildlife came in and ate it all up. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. I've got a pumpkin, not doing very well there as well, and a weed. Take out the weed while I'm here. A few weeds. I shouldn't call it a weed really, it's a symptom. Yes. It's not really any weeds in permaculture as such. They're more plants in the wrong spot. And really they're in the wrong spot because that's the soil condition. It's giving you an indication of the condition of the soil. We've still got a fair bit of repair work to do in the soil here. That mulberry is coming back a lot better than that one, but in all fairness, I did leave a branch on that one, whereas I took that one pretty much down to stump. So this one is recovering a lot better. It's thrown this lovely shoot up, and I've got pigeon pea coming up. The electric fence is keeping the goats away from the moringa, which is fantastic. Very pleased about that. Oh, I've just noticed a pup on the banana. The banana has a pup or a sucker, so I should take that off and plant that around the place somewhere. See, this banana circle's doing pretty well. Really need to cover up those compost. Matthew's just been bringing the compost downstairs and popping it in the banana circle, because bananas get very hungry. They're a heavy feeder, so they need a lot of nutrients to keep up with what they need. So yes, but I really need to cover that, because otherwise it's going to attract flies, which is not good. So I need to have something here that Matthew can just dump a load of wood chips on when he puts a pile of compost down here. Can't just leave it in the open like that. See, these bananas are doing reasonably well. That one's a slow grower, but it's only a miniature anyway. It's the same. That one is the same as that one over there, so it's not going to get much taller than me. Has she gotten herself tangled? She has. I think she's gotten herself tangled. Better go fix the goat. It sounds like the toddler's needing some assistance as well. Anyway, have a great one. Any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them below. Have a great day.